There are a lot of people now that think that they are holy. You are not holy, you are poor. Because the sins that you desire, you can't afford it. So the very minute you have money, that's when we'll know whether you are really humble. There is no humility in a poor man because poverty already humbled you. What else should you be? Are you supposed to be poor and proud? No. Money doesn't change people. Money only reveals your true character. Because money is an amplifier. Money only amplified what was already inside you. You didn't have the money to express the potential. Seek ye first. It's a function of priorities. So when people read that, it says seek ye first. It didn't say seek ye only. What many of us are doing is we are pursuing the ram. That's the 9 to 5. You are pursuing the ram, 2, 3, 4 jobs. You can't meet up with it. You can't determine the speed.
My questions to Dr. Olumide will be, quite a lot of people have heard you today, and some more are still going to hear, and some of us here. And I think it would be nice if we hear how you got here, sir. Because we get excited when we hear great stuff, and some of us might think, oh, maybe it's too late for me, or someone might think, oh, you don't understand, do you know my age? I don't think anything. And I just think it'd be nice to hear how you multiply things over the years, and you got to a place that we can refer to you as a billionaire.
My journey started in 97. I think I shared that yesterday night, 97. And 97 into 98, I had 8 months of an encounter that changed my life. And the simple assignment was to study the lives of rich and wealthy people on the face of the earth. I did that and discovered that principles are universal. Everyone, everywhere in the world, they were all doing the same thing. And I decided that, okay, if this is what they did, I would do the same. And I started doing the same. And in 4 years, I saw the change. So by 2001, it became a mandate, go teach my people wealth creation. And that's what I've been doing since 2001. So what I've done is I give attention to financial education. So I continue to learn. Number 2, I save. And number 3, when the money is enough, I now invest it into cash flow producing assets. And then I start businesses. So when I started out, I was focused on starting the businesses. But as I grew in understanding, I now co-own businesses. So I invest in businesses. I'm a venture capitalist. So if I just own 10, 20% of it, I'm good. 5%, I'm good. And that's what I've done. And then, so I save, I invest, I own businesses. And then the final thing that I decided to do was to make it global. So when I tested it in Nigeria, it worked. I started doing that all over the world. So now I have properties and businesses in almost 10 countries of the world. And so that's the journey.
It sounds like it just happened for you because your prayer, you read these books and all that. But I'm sure there were times that you got to a place where you want to give up. There were times or the things that you had to do to make it happen. Because we want to walk away from here, just like Pastor Daniel said. We want to be able to work with some of us that, well, each one of us here have different things we need to either stop doing or start doing. And it would be nice to give us some.
But if you heard what I said, we're in 2025, and I spoke about 1997. So 27 years is enough to produce results. So even if you start saving $10, by now you should be somewhere. So it's taking time to be where I am. So what I've done is my major, there's what I call the Trinity of Wealth. So I talk to people about the importance of investment in capital markets, money market. I talk about the importance of businesses. I talk about the importance of real estate and then intellectual properties. So what I've done is I've focused primarily on 3. So real estate, I'm into real estate on a global scale. And I bought land in, well, I've known you since 1999, so I bought land in the UK in 1999. My first plot was bought in 1999 in UK. My first house was bought in Woolwich Arsenal, a 2-bedroom flat in the where you have that ferry, the flat, you know. So and it's been, so it's a journey that's taken a while. So it's been then I bought my first 50 acres of land in 2001. And then another 100 acres in 2003, then 200 acres in 2005, then 70 acres in 2000. So it's been, but those land, because it's land banking, I do land banking. So if you say a city today was a village yesterday, A village today will be a city tomorrow.
Wow.
You don't wait to buy land. You buy land and you wait. So most of those lands that I bought land in South Africa, I bought land in the US. So most of I bought land in Ghana. So most of the lands I bought, maybe, okay, for instance, the first 50 acres I bought a plot of land then. In Nigeria, then I bought one plot for 50,000 naira. Then. And that 50,000 naira then, pounds, was 230 to a pound. So that was like 2 pounds. But those same properties, at least you know, those same properties, I sold them for 2,000 pounds per plot here in the UK. On Ben TV, Nigeria FM. So those are and those properties now, they are about 25,000 pounds per plot. And I still have close to 700 plots still sitting down there. So 700 times 25,000 pounds. Do the math. So it's just a function of time. Yeah, it's just, so do the right thing and
not giving
you can't give up, because it's just so. I started earlier. I'm just there. I'm just keeping at it. Yeah.
Pastor, I have a question.
Okay.
Because you said something about personal growth and development that I'm extremely passionate about. And sometimes when people look at the scripture in that First Kings that you share with us, they thought she just borrowed vessel, pour it, and it happened sharp. Yeah. And there are too many people running after gift, purpose, market, but there is no character and no process and no substance that undergirds this race. How important is personal growth and development and the process before we can, because people will go away this weekend now. Pastor Olumide, they say go and market, go and publicize, but like what undergirds?
Like I said, there are many aspects of that we couldn't touch because of time. Yeah. Don't forget that when he said, bring me another vessel, and there was no vessel, the oil stayed.
That's right.
The oil stopped flowing. Now the question is, the man told her ahead, go borrow vessels, empty vessels, not a few. The instruction was clear, but she still got few because she could not get vessels from her enemy. She could not get vessels from the people she was rude and arrogant to. So that means her limitation was based on her relationship, which is the character dimension. She did not have character for 10,000 vessels. She had character for 7 vessels. And when the character stopped, money stopped. Jesus Christ grew in wisdom, in stature, in favor with God and favor with man. Growing in wisdom is intellectual development, intellectual growth. Growing in stature is physical growth. Growing in favor with God is spiritual growth. Growing in favor with man is relational growth. So you need to grow holistically. And that's how you'll be able to be the best version of yourself.
You know, Dr. Olumide just touched on something now that I really think we need to listen really, really deep about this issue of relationship. My wife would remember one day we were sitting with Pastor Matthew in his office, and he was talking to me about 5 streams of income. I don't know whether you can remember, because I had started pastoring in Medford, Oregon, and I committed intellectual suicide. So when I would come to UK, he said, Pastor from Oregon, I should come to his office. And then I was moaning because I did this intellectual suicide of I just want to serve God. And until the Lord told me, what's this foolishness that you are doing? Because you are serving God. So I remember I was with him and he began to talk about the issue of income streams. And then he said something about books. He said, I already have a market by the relationship of the amount of people that are members of my congregation. This relationship thing is key. Because in the church today, we keep telling believers, let's win souls. Churches are not growing because believers are relationship poor.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. Many of us Christians are relationship poor. It's conference time, we don't have one person, we can't bring 10 people because we don't have them. So it's beginning to show now, like what Pastor Ruth is saying about, okay, so go and mark. Now some of us are going to start bringing the fruit of our life. There's nobody to buy it.
Yeah.
We have no relationship of anybody to help us.
Yeah.
So to produce something on its own is not good enough. You need to then know what ready market is there. Where is the help? Where is the relationship? So it's so big that she ran out of vessels and the miracle stopped. and the vessels was based on her relationship and how many she could get.
Yeah.
So if some of us, he said something earlier on that was just, it hit me really hard, because there's a particular business venture that I was thinking about, and exactly what you said. He said, why don't I bring some people together? He said, I shouldn't even put my money in it.
Yeah.
He said, I don't need to put my money. Then he began to tell me what to do. And that thing became so strong. This issue of relationship. How many of us have people that can join us to do a business venture? How many of us have people that can trust us? If you have something golden that you're going to do, that you 100,000 would do it, and you only have 20, truly, how many of us can find 4 other people who will put 20 down? Wow, this is a good one.
One of the subjects that you talk about a lot is saving, and it's something that I talk to people about quite often. There's something from another rich man, Warren Buffett, that I read many years ago that says, don't save what you have after spending, but spend what you have after saving. How would you bring that into, because when I talk to people about that, they find it very hard, because they've got bills to pay and everything else to pay, but we're saying save before you spend. How would you elaborate on that?
Okay, I think I mentioned something maybe yesterday. You see, every money you are going to be paid in your lifetime will never be paid to you once. So if you're going to work for 35 years, we can't give you 35 years salary once. We're going to break it down into weeks and years. And because money is tripartite, money is Trinity, it therefore means that every time you collect that paycheck, a portion of that money belongs to your past.
Wow.
It's the bills you've already incurred. A portion of that money belongs to your present. It's your ongoing obligation. A portion of that money belongs to your future. So if you don't save, you are not safe. Because that means you are eating your future. And when you finally get into the future, there will be no future, because you have eaten it up. So you need to save, because that's just, saving creates your future. See, savings is not an investment, because inflation will eat it up. But savings is required for investment, because you need to put it together to invest it. So you need to save. And we say to people in the world of financial economics that you need to have between 6 to 8 months of your living expenses saved up in cash, in case life happens. See what happened in COVID. A lot of people that you thought were rich, when they died, were doing GoFundMe to bury them. Because they didn't have money. They were just living fake life. House is mortgage, car is car notes, everything fake. Buy now, pay later. Everything is just installment. They are broken their life into installments. And they are still, and that's it. So it's just about ensuring that you know that if you don't save, you are not safe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olumide. I think my question is around collaboration, because that was something that God laid on my heart this year. But I didn't really know. I think you try to be careful, and obviously in trying to be too careful, then you don't really do anything. And so you mentioned collaboration today, and there was something you said during the first service which I didn't really quite catch. But what would you say should be what we watch out for in terms of trying to find the right persons or people to collaborate with, and what would be some of the mistakes that you've made that we could learn from?
Okay, so a lot of people, the problem they say they have is trust. And I'm asking you, you have a bank account. Do you know the owner of the bank? But you put your money in the bank. And you carry ATM card around and Visa card. Do you know the owner of the bank? How do you trust them? It's a system. It's because you live in a system that works. Many of us came from a system that does not work, where there is no law, there's no. So when we now moved into a system that works, the virus of where we are coming from is still affecting us. Every contract is as powerful as the people signing it and the law that is backing it. So you are no more in Africa, Asia, Caribbean. You are now in the Western world. In the Western world, the law works. So anybody you want to do business with or collaborate with, you don't need to like them. They don't need to like you. They just need to have the money that is needed. It is contract that binds you together. Do you understand now? It's contract. Because that same bank where you are, that your money is, there are other people in that bank. Do you know them? Do they know you? It's a contract that binds all of you, and all your money is in the same place. So it doesn't have to be, I don't know, you don't need, just bring out, this is the idea, this is the money that is needed. If you are interested, this is the terms. Anybody that is interested, they don't need to know you, you don't need to know them. As long as they are ready to follow the law, you sign the contract and Everybody goes on. So it must not be shake hands, my brother, my sister. No, it's not emotion and sentiment. It's documentation. And once there is document, you follow the document. And that's the way it works. Just today, it will be a long, but there are a lot of people that don't read, they don't read the fine line. They just sign documents. And some people don't have so the mistake, talking about the mistake I have made is not to protect myself. Is to develop terms and conditions as a pastor instead of developing terms and conditions as a businessman. It took a while for me to know that people don't love you, they love what you do for them. So I used to think that, when you are good to people, people will be good to you. I was that naive. But now I am purely a businessman. So when I'm putting on my business cap, all the grounds are covered. I had an investment scheme that I did at a point in time, and I was giving people 20% return on their investment every year. And the investment was going well for 16 years until the economy of our nation shifted. Now, the mistake I made was that I was collecting short-term funds for long-term projects. Number two, I was collecting hard currency to use in a soft economy. So there are people that I had an exposure of about almost $1 million, $800 and something thousand that people invested with me. Some people gave me $10,000, some gave me $100,000, and I was giving them 20% return every year. There's no way you can get that in any Western world at all. But they were getting their money. But now, the only reason why they were getting their money was because I was using it for real estate and I was getting a lot of returns. So by the time I still changed my money to dollar, I was giving them. But in 2014, the currency shifted. In our country, it was 160 naira to a dollar. It went to 450. So I went into debt of about $6 million of debt. And then the people that gave me $100,000, which was then 15 million, I was now paying them 45 million to return their 100,000. So that set me back almost 8 billion naira in my own currency, which is like $6 million. And it took me almost 11 years to pay off the debt. And the only reason why that happened was because of the mistake of, number one, I was collecting a short-term fund. Every 1 year, you're giving people 20%, and the house you are building, you finish it in 4 years. So that means you will end up paying 80% for a property. So it was a wrong. Then I was collecting hard currency for a soft economy. So now, I don't do that anymore. So if I'm collecting dollars, I'm spending it in a dollar economy. If I'm collecting pounds, I'm spending it in a pound economy. So that's the way it works. So those are lessons learned.
Next one.
So my question is basically on back to the savings and investment. So where I personally struggle is if I save towards something or I have a goal, and then of course life happens. It kind of knocks me because it's basically you're putting money with a goal, but then bills, whatever happens, and it then deflates you in the sense of wanting to move forward into investment, or it leaves you in a position where financially you can't invest. So essentially what my question is how do we then manage that to try to get to the 6% savings that we would need to have for whatever happens in life, but then also manage to focus on the investment aspect so that we can increase our wealth and increase.
So the first thing you need to do is to save money in a system that you cannot access. Amen. That's the first thing. So most of the time we save money and then we have the ATM card.
I was just going to say, life is always happening and life will always happen.
So
yes, sir.
You save money in a place where you can't touch it. So for you to touch it, you have to go and fill a form, go to the bank. When you think of all the stress of going to touch it, you will leave it there. So that's the first thing. Number two is to collaborate. When your savings is beyond you and it's a group. So if, for instance, now you see our parents had what they call thrifts. So people gather money together. So maybe they say, okay, we're going to be doing £100 each, 10 of us. Someone will take the money in January, someone else will take it in February. That's a way they saved. But there's no way they could default because of the communal aspect. So if you want to do that, that's another way to go about it. Because, okay, let 10 of us come together. I call it wealth creation networks. And let's do £1,000 a month or £100 a month. And in January, so you know that when you are collecting the money, it's bulk enough for you to put into something else. So that's the way that's the way that works. And another way to do that is to also find out if there are investment platforms that you can put the money into. So the money is not coming back to you. So we have what we call bonds, we have treasury bills, we have mutual funds. So instead of you saving it in a savings account, you save it in a mutual fund. You save it in bonds, 60-day bond, 180-day bond. So you know that no matter what, you can't touch it until that 180 days. So those are the ways you go around that.
Yeah, yesterday we were talking about this, the financial status, the hierarchy of wealth or something like that.
Pyramid.
Pyramid, yeah. Talking about this financial crisis, financial instability, financial
stability.
I look at myself, I can't even say where I'm coming from, to be realistic. I have a business, but even now I don't even think whether I have a business or not. I'm still somehow confused. But one way or the other, the business has bailed me out after I lost my 9-to-5 job due to illness. But my question is this. The business is growing. I'm not so sure whether it's at thriving stage now. At what point do you think I can start diversifying so that I don't just jumble things together, Yeah.
Okay, so businesses go through different phases. We have the startup phase, we have the growth phase, we have the scaling phase where you now scale, and then we have the stability phase. Then we now have the diversification and expansion phase. Then we now have the sustainability phase. So you need to identify where your business is. So I guess that you are the growth phase. You are not scaling yet. So at that growth phase, what you now need to understand is what are my indices of growth. So how many customers do I have? How much do they spend? What kind of business do I have repeat customers? If I have one customer doing £100 a month, can I make the customer do 300? If the customer cannot return, can I make him do 300 every month? How can I have more? So that's what consulting is all about. You now sit down, we do a business diagnosis, and then we develop a marketing plan to help you to scale. Because if you start diversifying, you will kill the cash cow. So you need to ensure that that business is scalable. And then when you are now at the stability phase, where the business is stable, that's when you can pull out funds to go and diversify. Or else you'll be like somebody that is taking money from his wife to go and take care of his side chick. And then at the end of the day, you end up in disgrace. So
his wife is sitting right next to him.
So you don't take money from a business and go and be starting another business, because a lot of people, when they don't have money, they do business. When they now have money, they now take money from the business to go and be funding their passion that does not produce money. So that's what you should do. You need to scale it up first. Money is supposed to serve your purpose, but when you allow money to rule you and to control you, then you are going to be a pawn in the hands of money. And that's what the spirit of mammon is all about. Mammon is the spirit that controls your thoughts, impulses, and desires, contrary to the will of God. And that's why when people don't have money, they have some desires they don't have. But when money comes, those desires become part of their life. There are a lot of people now that think that they are holy. You are not holy, you are poor. Because the sins that you desire, you can't afford it. So the very minute you have money, that's when we'll know whether you are really humble. There is no humility in a poor man, because poverty already humbled you. So when you are poor and humble, what else should you be? Are you supposed to be poor and proud? So many times people think they are humble, they are not. That's why you say, hey, that person changed. No, money doesn't change people. Money only reveals your true character. Because money is an amplifier. So money only amplified what was already inside you.
You just didn't have the money to...
Yeah, you didn't have the money to express the potential. And now you see the answer is in that Luke 6:33, seek ye first. It's a function of priority. So when people read that, it says seek ye first. It didn't say seek ye only. So what they think, God is not against you seeking a job, seeking a car, seeking a miracle, but He's telling you that there is a better way. Seek ye first the kingdom. So when you make me a priority, everything they are looking for will now be added. So instead of you seeking me first, you are seeking things that I can add as an add-on. So, but when you leave the priority of seeking God, I begin to seek those things. That's what happens. So a good example is Genesis 22, when God told Abraham to offer Isaac. He woke up the next day and went, but if you see, as he was going, the Bible says in somewhere around verse 13, now the altar was there, Isaac has been tied down, and that also deals with the subject of who is in control. Because now we're talking of a 99-year-old man and a 17-year-old teenage boy. Who is stronger? The boy. But when Isaac asked him, where is the sacrifice? He said, God himself will provide. Okay, if you say God will provide, now you have put the wood there, you are tying me. I will know. So, but that is because Isaac is submitted to Abraham. Is your money submitted to you, or are you submitted to your money? So Abraham was in control of his Isaac, but many of us are not in control of our Isaac. Our Isaac is in control of us. So when you pick that check to write the 500 pound, the checkbook will be speaking to you. How can you give 500? Don't you know it's too much? Are you the only one? If you give, what if everybody give 500? That will be too much. What would they do? Give 50. Give 50. So the checkbook is speaking. So Isaac is controlling you. But see, by the time you get to the altar, in verse 13 of Genesis 22, the Bible now said, God spoke to Abraham, said, look behind you. Behind you, there is a ram caught in a thicket. That means as he was focusing on the kingdom, the ram was coming behind. Everything in there was coming behind. So, and the very minute, because the Bible says, if you have done it in your heart, you have done it already. So as he did that, it's accepted. God said, look behind. And he now did that. So what many of us are doing is, instead of focusing on the altar, we are pursuing the ram. That's the 9 to 5. You are pursuing the ram, 2, 3, 4 jobs. You are pursuing it everywhere, and you can't meet up with it. You can't determine the speed. It's forever running.
Hello, Dr. Olumide. Thank you so much. I think my question was partly answered by what you just said just now. But what I was going to ask you is that you started out, and you talked about nomadic, and you have different ideas in the beginning, and you don't know which way to go. So did you start out with property to fund because what you're doing now is you're going around, you're teaching about wealth. So that's, obviously you started first investing in yourself. So my question is, I'm also starting out, going out on my own, but I have a bigger picture of where I want to go. But the first instance is me. So I'm a therapist. So, obviously doing therapy by charging, and I'm targeting sort of corporate business at the moment. But it's where I want to go, but I've got a bigger scale. So we're talking about upscaling. So would you say that you start out investments, properties to get to the bigger scale? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? So you're starting out making money first to fund your dream and your gifting. Okay,
so now the first thing, everything begins with knowledge. And you have to keep learning, because the day you stop learning, you start dying. So you keep learning, don't stop learning. But now you have to start from your primary stream, which we call the low hanging fruit. We're going to deal with that tonight. So your primary stream. A river went out of Eden, and that one river became 4. So your primary stream is you're a therapist. So that's your primary stream. So you don't want to mess up with that. So you want to get all the certification, all the skill, all the experience, so that you can maximize your income possibility at that realm. And then from that point, you then begin to save money that you can now use to diversify into other aspects. So you need to focus on that, because if you are more skilled, more experienced, then you can charge more for your services. And then you can go beyond just taking care of one aspect. You can even become a specialist in that field and become a premium therapist that earns more for what you do. So that's where you start with what you are doing. Don't go and be jumping everywhere. Just focus on that. And then from there, you have income that you can now begin to look into what other thing can I put the income into. But I will advise that if you want to stay in that field, even when you want to put income into things, put it into things that will still help that field to grow. So you want to be an author. You want to have a platform where you train other people to do what you are doing. You want to, because for everything you do, there are multiple channels of making money from the same thing. So I can be a public speaker, and I'm speaking on finance. Then I write a book on finance. Then I have a radio program on finance. Then I have an academy on finance. Then I have a mentorship on finance. Then I have a financial investment plan. Then so you can just, it's the same finance, you are now having like 8 things, because if you leave it and jump around, you will not milk all the possibilities in that one. So being a therapist, there's so much in there. Have you heard of Dr. Phil? You've heard of all these guys on TV. So what stops you from being, even witches have TV program. Even wizard have TV program. So what's it from being able to package yourself, both online, offline, TV, social media, as someone that develop yourself into a personal brand. And
if you don't have TV program, if you really know your stuff and you have a YouTube channel, people would subscribe and you'll monetize it.
Yeah.
Praise God. Last question, please.
Thank you, Dr. Olumide, for the amazing knowledge and wisdom you've shared with us. One of the biggest challenges I find as a young man is time management, which I feel a lot of people struggle with as well, because you're trying to do so many things, but you're limited with time. What advice would you give, and based on your experience over the years? I mean, it's obvious that you've diversified into so many things, but again, being able to manage your time, finding the right balance to serve God as well as to make money. Because I think that's always a struggle. I mean, I find it as a struggle at times.
Okay, so it's prioritizing, and you break it into 4. Now, 4 things that you need to understand when it comes to time management is must do, should do, can do, desire to do. So that's the priority. Must do. Must do are things that if you don't do it, you are dead, you are finished. So you list it out. So Olumide, Oladapo, Emmanuel, I must pray. I must read my Bible. I must take care of my family. I must do. Because nobody can be the husband of my wife. Nobody can be the father of my children.
That's right.
So I mustn't preach. Somebody else can preach. So that is secondary. Should. I should preach. I should teach. I should. But I mustn't do it because somebody else can do that. Then, so you have must do. So you have to identify things you must do. Because many times when you say you don't have time, it's because you are using time to do things that you desire to do that you mustn't do. So level 4 is what people spend their time on. So must do, should do, can do. That you can do it does not mean you must do it. Who are you trying to impress? And then the final one is desire to do. There are many things you desire to do that does not align with your purpose, align with your destiny. That is something you can do only as leisure. Why will you spend time on your leisure when your purpose is left unattended to?
That's right.
And then the second aspect to look at that is there are things you can do that nobody else can do. There are things you can do that others can also do. And there are things you cannot do that others can do. So the things you can do that nobody else can do, that's what you should focus on. That's what should take the most of your time. The things you can do that others can also do, delegate it.